So full time at Wexford Park, and Wexford have turned over the All Ireland champions by a scoreline of 111 to 11 points. Wexford have beaten the All Ireland champions in the opening game of the Allianz National Hurling League. I mean, Limerick losing is obviously a surprise in itself. I mean, it's definitely no cause for alarms or no panic buttons being pushed or anything like that at this moment in time. Like, it is the opening game, and certainly no reason to get carried away by any stretch of the imagination. But for Wexford, look, it's a great win. It's a great win for their supporters. It's a great win for the county. Obviously, having had a very disappointing year last year and having been really annihilated in pre-season by the Dubs in that Walsh Cup final, this was a fantastic turnaround and a real sort of dogged, spirited performance really from Wexford. It wasn't the greatest game of hurling by any stretch of the imagination, and obviously with the fact that it's the first game, you could tell that both sides were nowhere near their best in terms of intensity, and especially from a Limerick point of view anyways. You definitely normally see Limerick play a whole lot better than this, and usually, as we seen last year, it took them a couple of games really before they got up to their best, and we see them last year. They drew a Tipperary in the first game. They then lost to Waterford and Galway before eventually beating Laois, and I can't remember the other team now in the league there, but and that's probably what's going to happen this year. Is they're probably going to be there for the taking quite early on in the league. They're trying different things out. You obviously have some players in that starting 15 that weren't starting last year, like Pat Ryan, for example, David Reedy, Cathal O'Neill, Colin Coughlin, Brian O'Grady. So it was a very much changed Limerick team to the side that obviously won the All-Ireland just 6 months ago or so. So it was definitely a much changed team in that regards, and obviously given a lot more game time to some of the sort of fringe players in the team. From a Wexford point of view, I mean, they went relatively strong. Obviously, not having Leach in the team is obviously a big miss, but obviously you had Conor McDonald in there, Rory O'Connor, and Mikey Dwyer, who got the decisive goal in the final 10 minutes in the end. And obviously Jack O'Connor, of course, in that wing-back role with 5 points, undoubtedly the man of the match from a Wexford point of view. But look, in terms of this game in the first half, like, it really was sluggish early on, and both sides not really clicking into gear. I thought Limerick were very good defensively, very good in the tackle, and they weren't really allowing Wexford to create too many clear-cut opportunities. And I felt like the more the game was going on, even though Limerick were nowhere near their best, you still felt like the quality did shine at different stages in the game. And in particular with Gearóid Hegarty, who hit 3 points on the day. And although he missed a couple of chances late on, I thought he was relatively impressive from a Limerick point of view. And it just kind of felt like Limerick were, they never really got out of third gear. They were nowhere. They certainly weren't at their brilliant best, and you felt like they were sort of just going through the motions just and you felt like they're going to see this game through. It's going to be a scrappy win, maybe 2 or 3 points. They'll move on into the next game. And I think with the hurling league in general, we will see a lot of games like this where it is very kind of challenge match type feel to the games, and a very kind of shadow boxing feel, because no disrespect to Offaly, who have obviously been beaten there by Galway. Well, they were losing to Galway last time I checked. More than likely Offaly are probably going to be the team that finishes bottom, and there's no real cause for concern in terms of relegation or anything like that for either of these two teams. So it gives opportunities for a team like Limerick to try out different players, to try out different things, and really take their time before they get up to the full fitness. So no real cause for concern there. But from Wexford's point of view, look, having been obviously beaten last weekend against the Dubs, coming into this maybe in a little bit of pressure, is it going to work for Dara Egan? We don't really know. How are they going to respond to obviously not having Davy Fitz in there, who did keep them relatively solid defensively over the past couple of years? So that was going to be the big question, because they did look very leaky in defence, I thought, against the Dubs. But they done well. Look, Limerick didn't create too much really until the final couple of minutes. Limerick started missing a couple of chances late on, but I thought generally speaking Wexford done well defensively, like the likes of Liam Ryan, and I thought Matt O'Hanlon was very good in that cornerback role as well. Obviously Jack O'Connor with 5 points in there was splendid from a Wexford point of view. Oisin Foley, Conor McDonald as well, brilliant in attack, and Mikey Dwyer, really, really well taken goal. Did he overcarry the ball maybe a little bit? Perhaps he slightly did. There's no denying that, but was he being fouled at the same time? That's probably, you could argue that case as well. So maybe it's the the fair decision to allow the goal. And I think if you're going to allow the advantage in that situation where a player's being fouled and maybe he takes too many steps, then right decision is just to allow the play to continue, I think. So really well taken goal there from Mikey Dwyer. And I think with the crowd as well, it was very notable watching this game that you could tell the fans were extremely up for this one. And it was tough for Limerick really to turn the tide. Like every pass was being cheered by the crowd. Frees are being cheered. Balls being won. Balls being caught all the same were being cheered. So you could really get the sense that it was going to be a bit of an effort for Limerick really. And obviously still have a lot of, their best players to come in there still. And even looking at their bench, like obviously Hanley came off the bench there. Shamey Flanagan came on. Kyle Hayes didn't even come off the bench, for example. So neither did Darragh O'Donovan. So and Sean Finn, still a lot of good players to come back in there from a Limerick point of view. Definitely no cause for concern whatsoever. We all know Limerick's eyes will be firmly on winning a Munster Championship and All Ireland in the league. Really, it's a bonus, isn't it? It's a bonus. And because of the way the league's structured, with the fact that the top team in both Division 1A and 1B, you kind of, there's really not a lot to play for, really. If you're up there at the end of it, perfect, happy days. If you win a league, it'll go down and it'll be talked about. But I think Limerick are at that stage now where they're thinking about bigger things, and rightly so, given what they've achieved in the last couple of years. But from Wexford, big positives, brilliant around midfield as well. Cathal Dunbar done well in there, I thought. Limerick probably didn't get a good enough hold in midfield, and definitely probably missed Darragh O'Donovan's influence. And probably just looking at their starting 15, they only had 4 scorers, which were Dermot Burns, Grode Hegarty, David Reedy, and Aaron Gallan. So Hanley obviously came off the bench, got on the score sheet there as well. So they will need some of their sharpshooters to come back into the team, no doubt about it. You'd be expecting Shamey Flanagan to get back into the starting 15 soon enough, as well, of course, and a few others, Darragh O'Donovan and Kyle Hayes, and obviously Cian Lynch, who was injured for this game. So still a lot of positives to come from a Limerick point of view, but brilliant from Wexford, brilliant for their supporters, and I'm sure they are absolutely delighted with this victory, and well deserved. Brilliant goal by Mikey Dwyer, which really was the difference on the day. And Wexford just probably upped the ante a little bit in the final 10 minutes, and I don't think Limerick were probably, maybe fitness-wise and maybe motivation sort of wise, they just probably weren't there just yet. But look, long way to go, no doubt about that. But big win for Wexford. Congratulations to them. This was the match reaction here on GAA Fan TV. If you could leave a like and subscribe, would appreciate it. There will be a reaction for Dublin against Waterford and for the Armagh and Tyrone game out a little bit later as well. So stay tuned for those reactions, and I'll see you all later.